I'm scared, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I want to win so bad. There's new reports. I saw this yesterday, and this is real. This is real. If Anthony Davis is traded per Shams Charania, who this guy Shams has now, he's reporting on Giannis potentially leaving in the Knicks and all this type of stuff, and Shams is, this is going to be the craziest offseason ever. This guy, he says, he wants clicks. Obviously, he works for ESPN, and they'll say whatever, to get people to tune in and watch their shows and, click on whatever blogs and whatever they're posting. But the top headline here is the Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, and Toronto Raptors are expected to be suitors for Anthony Davis, right? Then you also have this post here. It says the Mavericks are open to exploring the trade market for AD, Gafford, Klay Thompson, and D'Angelo Russell. Basically, a clean sweep. Basically, lining up with reports with what we saw earlier a couple weeks ago that said the Mavericks want to kind of focus on building around Kyrie and Cooper Flag. So that means everybody else is somewhat expendable. Are we ruling out that Anthony Davis could be traded? No, it's very possible. But according to this fellow here, I don't know about this guy, but he's definitely been correct about a lot. And he works for Forbes. The East's #1 seed Pistons, who will pursue a trade with Anthony Davis, have the necessary assets to make a trade with the Mavericks. Detroit can create a package headlined by Ivy, Tobias Harris's $26.6 million expiring contract, another role player, plus draft capital. Now hear me out, y'all, right? If I'm the Pistons, personally, I'm trading instantaneous. JB Bickerstaff was just on a show and he said, after we made the playoffs last year, we don't really want to blow anything off and we're going to give the guys another chance. No! Can the Pistons win a championship how it is? Hell no! If Anthony listen, for Tobias Harris and Jaden Ivey and a role player and maybe a potential second round pick or potential picks, I'm trading the whole. Listen, Anthony Davis takes the Pistons over the edge. There's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. I'm sending the trade through in about 0.3 seconds. I wouldn't even hesitate on it. Some things you shouldn't even regret because you take too long to think, you overthink it, and it ends up costing you. Sometimes you just have to pull the trigger on things and just do it. You can live with the regret after if it doesn't work out, but at least you tried. If you don't try, that makes things even worse. Could you imagine Anthony Davis playing the position that he yearns for, that he pleads for? He doesn't even like playing center as it is because both centers are injured on the Mavericks currently. He pleads, he says, I love playing, even though he's a really great center. Even though he is a really great center, he puts up great numbers playing the center position. He literally begs to play the power forward. Could you imagine him lined up next to the best young center in the NBA at only 21, 22 years old, Jalen Duren? Could you imagine? So this is my idea. And then you also have Isaiah Stewart as a center coming off the bench, because it's not like you're getting rid of it. Listen, in the playoffs, we need to be honest and have an open conversation. In the playoffs, are players like Jaden Ivey and Tobias Harris going to be doing damage like that? And the crowd goes absolutely silent. We need to be honest. As a Pistons fan, as somebody that likes the Pistons, be honest. We've seen it already. What, Tobias Harris? You think he's going to be like he's like an important factor in the playoffs? Teams are like, now we got a plot for Tobias Harris. He's going to be really dangerous when you hit them corner threes. But if Cade Cunningham has somebody like Anthony Davis, who's a legitimate, listen, and this might be overblown out of proportion. If Anthony Davis went to the Pistons, it would arguably be he might be the best player on the Pistons. If Cade Cunningham, we've seen what Cade Cunningham can do with a legitimate big in Jalen Duren. who can pop, who can roll, who can screen, who can shoot. If he has Anthony Davis, who when healthy is a top 10 player in the NBA, I don't even want to hear it. That makes them instant championship contenders. Obviously, the factor of Anthony Davis needs to stay healthy is a legitimate thing, but dude, you can't deny what that trade would do. It would be amazing. And then I just give Jalen Duren minutes to, or I just give Jaden Ivey minutes to Danish Jenkins, right? There are legitimate people on the Pistons bench. What about Marcus Sasser if he doesn't get traded? There are legitimate people on the bench that can just take his minutes. Shout out to Jaden Ivey. Shout out to your contributions. But brother, if it's you or Anthony Davis, adios. Sayonara, brother. It's just your time, you know. Have fun in Dallas, you know, and you guys can rebuild. I'm sure you know your tools will be much needed. You know, to be honest, in all fairness, you know, that's just me. As if I was the Pistons like general manager, if I had positions of power, of course I'd love to make that trade. But if I'm the Mavericks, I'd keep Anthony Davis, because you see the level that he's playing with, and then you see videos like this. You can't literally have anything but hope. You can't have anything but hope. Look, you have Kyrie Irving, who they've only played one game together. Not even a full game. They've only played one, like 3 quarters together before Anthony Davis got injured versus the Houston Rockets last year. And we see Kyrie Irving throwing alley-oops to AD, and they look like a legit, like one of the best duos in the NBA, and they only had 3 quarters together. So imagine when Kyrie gets healthy. That's the problem with the Mavericks, obviously, of course, injuries. But could you imagine Kyrie healthy and AD? You have to give it a chance. I think you have to give it a chance. I don't know why you would trade AD. I know you want to build and focus on Kyrie and Cooper Flag, but Cooper Flag's a rookie. It's going to take time before he leads you to the promised land. You know, Luka, it's going to take any rookie time to develop and make sure that they're a legitimate, like, all-star lock selection and a championship contender player. It's going to take years. You think Kyrie Irving's has 3 years to wait? Why would you trade AD? You need another vet who can get it done when they're both healthy. So, hey, listen, I don't know why you would trade AD. I don't think you do it, but if it does happen, that's a steal a million times a day for the Pistons. I'm giving up assets, minimum assets, as much minimum assets as I can if I'm the Pistons to get AD. Oh my goodness. Walking in a winter wonderland.